I thank the gentleman. If the gentleman from California didn't like my analogy about how we were maneuvered into war in World War II, I think it might be much more appropriate to compare it to the sanctions on Iraq. There were those in the 1990s that wanted us to go to war in Iraq. They were looking for an excuse. And we put strong sanctions, continued flying over their country and bombing. Thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of kids died because of those sanctions, and eventually they got their war. We ended up in the war. Anybody who believes that taking gasoline away from the common person in Iran is going to motivate them to get rid of their Ayatollah. It's the Ayatollah that carries the power. That's not going to happen. It just does exactly the opposite. So this is why I believe this is a much greater threat to our national security. It does not help us. It doesn't achieve the goals that are set out. For instance, we now commonly say that the Iranians have no right to enrich. Well, they signed the Non-Proliferation Treaty, and they have not ever been told that that they are making a bomb, and yet what we're saying in this bill that they can't enrich anymore. So in a way, you're violating international law by saying they can't enrich, period. So that is just looking for trouble. Now, what else this bill will do is going to push the support of the Iranians in another direction. It's going to push them toward India, toward China, Russia. And these countries have special, associations with Iran. So we're going to, separate us. We'll be isolated from that, and they're going to have a much closer alliance with these countries. That will not serve our interests. It's going to serve the interests of one country mostly, and that's China. China, they act almost like capitalists. They take our dollars they've earned from us, and they're spending the dollars over there. They would like to, buy the oil and refine the oil and drill the oil. But here, we assume that we have to do it through force, through sanctions and threats and intimidation and secret maneuvers to overthrow their regime. It just doesn't work. It sounds good. It sounds easy, but it does backfire on us. You get too many unintended consequences, and besides, our national security does not depend on what we do in the Middle East. Our national security is threatened by this. I mean, we're overstretched, we're broke, and this is part of the strategy, as I mentioned before. Our arch enemies in that region want to bankrupt us, and they want to stir up hatred toward us, and they want to bog us down, and they're achieving what their goals are.
Gentleman's time's expired. The gentleman from Ohio reserves. The gentlelady from